welcome. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Amy Sam. I am the Health Education Project Specialist at the Maxwell and Eleanor Blum Patient Family Learning Center at Mass General. Before we get started, I just want to go over a few items with you all. Please note that today's session is being recorded for educational purposes. If you're interested in viewing the recording, it'll be made available on the Blum Center website at massgeneral.org/Blum-Center. Please note that you're on listen-only mode. Everyone has been muted so we can hear our guest speaker today. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts you'd like to share, feel free to enter them in the chat. Only Blum Center staff and our guest speaker will see your questions and comments. Please do not share any personal medical information or questions in the chat. If you have a personal medical question, please ask your doctor. Lastly, at the end of today's session, you'll be directed to a brief survey, which we'd like to ask you to help us complete. Your feedback is important to us as we plan future programs. Okay, so next I am going to introduce you all today. Joining us, we have Carmen Alvarez. In addition to her role with the Department of Radiology as a Program Director of Faculty Affairs, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, Carmen is also a well-being teacher and coach. As a certified workforce mindfulness facilitator, she integrates mindfulness and well-being to provide a comprehensive and integrated wellness approach. Carmen is also a certified Reiki master and has served as a Reiki therapist at Mass General and Brigham Women's in Boston since 2018. She is a graduate of the Mindful Leader Workplace Mindfulness Facilitator Program and the Benson Henry Institute for Mind-Body Medicine PART Certificate Program, which stands for Positivity and Relaxation Response Training. She started her mindfulness training journey at Brown University School of Public Health's MBSR, which stands for Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction Program. Carmen is also a certified Sky Wellness Coach offered by the International Association for Human Values, which is a comprehensive psychosocial program tailored for university students, faculty, and staff. She teaches meditation and breathwork workshops across the United States and Latin America in both English and Spanish. In recognition of National Stress Awareness Month, she joins us today to lead a session on the connection between stress and our nervous system. So please join me in welcoming Carmen.
Thank you, Amy. Well, that was so lovely. Welcome, everyone. I am so glad that you're here to discuss this very important topic with us. And I always love to connect with our audience. Today, we are on webinar mode, which means that I cannot see you. However, I still want to connect with you very much. So what we can do is utilize the chat function to communicate with each other. So throughout the talk, I may stop and ask questions and have you reflect on something and then maybe share your thoughts. So feel free to use the chat for that purpose. And no one else can see that, by the way, only myself and Amy will be able to see it. Great. So today the topic is stress and the nervous system. And first, I want to say that I have come to this topic out of it's a self-experience, I guess, if you will. You know, first, as a Reiki practitioner, I was first interested in learning techniques that can help us manage stress because I wanted to help my patients fully relax so that they could receive the healing during a Reiki session. That's what led me to the mindfulness training. While I was doing this training, I also realized that sometimes just connecting to your body isn't enough. And so I have started to explore even more. And what led me to the nervous system, what is it and what is this response? And that's what I'm hoping to explore with you today. And so this is a very high level overview of what the nervous system is. I am not a clinician or a physician, so please do not hold me to anything technical or scientific. Let's see, I want to make sure that you can see my slides. So I'm going to share right now what I have prepared for you. Here we go. So you should be able to see them now. Great. So what is stress and what is this connection between stress and the nervous system? First of all, we all experience stress, obviously, right? I come to this work as a human first. I am the first to admit I have experienced complex trauma and stress in everyday life. So I come to this work first as a human being. The stress is a human response, and we all experience it. But here's how I'd like to relate what stress is, so that we can all have the same baseline. To me, stress is when the mind is constantly going back and forth between past and future. What do I mean by that? If you were to observe yourself, the mind is constantly going back to either something that happened in the past, right? Like, oh my gosh, something happened yesterday. I forgot about this, or this happened. Someone told me something and I didn't respond. I should have said something. How many times does that happen to you, right? Like you have a discussion with someone and it's not until the next day that you said, oh my God, that's what I should have said. So your mind is constantly going through something that probably already happened. So that's the past. And, most of the times there's nothing we can do, right, about something that's already happened. However, your mind doesn't stop going back to those things. Or it's focused on something that hasn't happened yet. Again, not anything that you can do much about sometimes, right? Your mind is imagining how something could happen, and that's projecting into the future. So your mind is usually taking you back and forth between something happened in the past or something is about to happen. And so this back and forth is stressful. That is the definition of stress, right? In fact, if we were to go into this deeper, the study of when the mind is constantly stuck on the past, that is what really concludes in the feeling of depression. Depression is, okay, something happened, I cannot do anything about it, I feel traumatized by it. That is depression. And when you are constantly worried about something in the future that hasn't happened, then that is anxiety. I'm anxious about something that hasn't happened yet, right? So this back and forth is the stress. There's a lot of energy that goes into this, right? So the stress from, for example, deadlines, or I have an exam. What happens when you feel that stress? There's a response in your body, right? So your heart starts to palpitate. Maybe your palms get sweaty, right? So what's happening? There is a physical response to this stress. And it's your mind, even though you're just thinking about these things, notice how your body starts to respond to it, right? So you ever feel like you're constantly on edge, right? Ready to jump? Someone taps you on the shoulder and you jump. What is that response? You ever notice that? I just want you to, just keep that in mind, right? Or you may feel like you just want to zone out. I just want to be left alone. I sort of want to run away or hide away, right? That feeling, I just want to run away. I just want to hide. Those are physical responses that are tied directly to the stress or what your mind is going through. And that is the stress response. It's a stress response that you feel physically in your body. Stress triggers a release of hormones. We've maybe heard about cortisol or adrenaline, right? So these hormones is what activate this system, the nervous system in your body, preparing your body for what it perceives as maybe danger, right? When you're imagining that something may happen, right? So it's preparing your body to fight or flight. So we'll go into a little bit more about this. And then chronic stress can lead to a dysregulation of the nervous system. And of course, when we spend prolonged amount of time in this active state of the nervous system in the either flight or flight response, that can lead to mental health issues, right? It could lead to even chronic pain, muscle tension, headaches, digestive problems. Remember that there is so much energy that is going into this response. And so your body is actively responding or trying to respond to what it is that is the messages that it's receiving from you. So again, this can present in different systems. If you've symptoms, if you've ever can go back and think about it, you know, sometimes you feel sluggish and reduced motivation. That's also a stress response. And we'll go into why that is. So what is the nervous system? So think about the nervous system as a personal security system. It comes with your body. It's been here for thousands of years and it's developed over time. This is what our ancestors could count on when they were out there in the wild, right? And they had to survive out exposed in the environment. And this is what kept them alive because this is what kept them safe from the animals, right? Maybe there's a lion that's coming in to eat them, right? This is how it developed over years and thousands of years. But this is the beginning of it is. So the nervous system is there to protect you. Its sole job is to keep you safe. Just remember that. It's what it's trying to do is to keep you safe. And so it's not something that you do yourself. It's something that's within you. Like just like your lungs know what to do with oxygen when you breathe. You don't have to tell your lungs what to do, right? So the nervous system is the same thing. So now the nervous system has three major states. It's either in safe mode when you're saying, okay, everything is good. The lion, there are no lions. I'm not going to get eaten, at least not today, right? So everything is good. There's a threat when you encounter a stressful situation, like a surprise test or something, someone cuts you off really quickly, right? So you have to respond. So there's the stress mode. So it kind of comes into an alert mode. So when you're in high alert, when you're detecting a potential danger threat, so that's when it starts to get activated. And then there's the danger response and extreme situations where it's already happened, like a certain accident or a physical attack, your nervous system goes into overdrive, right? So that's when it goes into, okay, high alert. So the fight or flight or the freeze response is another way of called the three states of the nervous system that I just described. And so we most commonly hear it referred to as fight or flight. There's also the freeze response. And how does that work? So obviously, it's the way that your system responds to these dangers. And like I said, it is completely natural. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to do anything about it. It is something that happens automatically. It is an instinct that comes over. And it's there to protect you, right? So it's just preparing your body to handle whatever challenges are coming your way. It could be external or perceived. It could be real or perceived, which is very important to know, right? It's just trying to keep you safe. But how does it know when something is safe or something is dangerous? Because right now, if you were to think about it, how is your body, how do you perceive your environment? Are you in danger right now? Or do you feel safe? I am relatively safe right now because I don't see any lions that are coming to eat me right now, right? There's no imminent danger. So I could say, okay, I'm safe, and I hope you're safe as well right now. However, the nervous system is always looking out for what it can perceive as a threat to you, to me, is very individual. How does it decide when it's scanning your environment that something is safe or it's dangerous? It has been keeping a database of your lived experiences since you were born, right? Think about the nervous system as a database of everything you've ever experienced in your life, good and bad. The first time you had an ice cream cone. Oh, that experience. Let me put that over here. The first time you were called into the principal's office, or if you were ever called into the principal's office, that was an experience. Let's put that somewhere, right? Maybe I felt or experienced neglect as a child. That is a lived experience, right? So all of these experiences that we go through, it's keeping that as like a mental note. How does that make me feel? Did that experience make me feel good or bad? Did I experience that as a positive response or a negative response? And then it keeps that somewhere in your brain. And so then what happens is it will continuously, even now, throughout your entire life, scan your environment and judge every situation based on the database that it has. Doesn't discriminate, right? So let me give you an example. So let's say that you maybe did not experience a lot of personalized attention when you were a child. And perhaps your database of experiences has a record of, okay, when I come home, everyone is busy. And if I share something important to me, they may or may not care or have time to respond to it. That makes me feel very bad. So I am going to go quiet, keep that to myself. Let's just say that's in your database of experiences. And now, as an adult, you come home, you had a good day at work or a bad day, and you come home and you want to tell your partner about it, right? And in the moment, your partner takes a look and says, absolutely, tell me, how was it? But the phone rings. Maybe someone is vibrated and someone said something, so he or she goes to pick it up. Real quick, in a second, in a microsecond, your nervous system goes, oh, what does this look like to me? Wait a minute, what experience do I have that reminds me of this? That he's not paying attention to me. It happens so quickly. So one of the things that I want to say is, remember, your nervous system is always trying to keep you safe. It's involuntary. It's not something that you are doing. It's happening for you, and it's unconscious. So there is no reason to judge these reactions. I just want to bring awareness to them. And I want you to know that it happens very, very quickly. So in that split second, I may feel this is similar to when I came home with my homework to show mom and dad, and no one was there to respond to it. So that made me feel really bad. So I'm going to pull away right away. Just because he took his attention from me for 2 seconds, that I'm going to read that as he may not be interested. So let me quickly pull away and then just say, oh no, never mind, and go away. That is a stress response based on what your nervous system has in the database of what is good and what was bad. And so that is what your nervous system is constantly scanning the system for. Again, I don't want us to judge ourselves if that is a response, but I just want to bring awareness to this. And why is that? Because these responses are involuntary. And these responses, again, the nervous system is trying to keep you safe, right? But it cannot discriminate from, this is not the same situation. My partner does care. It's okay if he gets a phone call in the middle of this or whatever the situation is, right? Or let's just say You were called into the principal's office when you were a child. You can imagine what that felt like. Maybe you experienced fear, right? And your heart was beating very fast and your palms were sweaty, of course, and you were afraid, of course, right? So that in the database can translate this way. Perhaps your boss calls you in one day and says, hey, I want to discuss something with you, or whatever it is. I'm just using that as an example. A nervous system response, when it's correlating to this database of experiences, it may say, oh, I remember we were called into the principal's office, and that was a very negative response. We were very sweaty and very nervous, and that's not good. So I'm going to get the system on high alert. So you start sweating again, your heart starts beating, and this is all relating it to an experience that you had. It could be very intense or not. You know, the nervous system response is very individual, again, because this is related to your own experiences in life. So these are past imprints. It could be trauma. But the key thing here is that it is subconscious. You are not aware necessarily of how these things are relating, but your senses, right? All of your senses, how you're breathing, your eyes, your pupils dilating, your body is responding. And that is because your body has kept the score throughout the years of how you are responding to these perceived threats. Okay, so what does a dysregulated nervous system look like in the real life? Let's just go through a few examples so that you can see if you can relate to any of these things. We all can, right? So emotional well-being, obviously, it can translate or manifest as anxiety, worry, fear, anger, and burnout, depression, apathy, overwhelm, you name it, right? And the physical being, it could be you feeling numb, you're feeling blank, you're feeling disconnected. There is tension in the body, urgency, racing thoughts. This is a very popular one. I speak to a lot of people that say that they cannot stop their mind from racing, right? That's high alert. That is your nervous system sending that message to your body based on perception to say we should be on high alert because this is a perception I have from a past experience that may be negative. So now your body is responding to these things automatically, right? And you're not aware. So this is happening. Again, fatigue, insomnia, all of these things is your body on high alert, protecting you, seemingly protecting you from a perceived danger that it may not be there. So what does that look like at work? Stress and burnout, we see that so much nowadays, right? A needing to control everything. Your purpose, I see this a lot in different discussions with people, where they start to feel like they're behind in life or you're stuck, unable to move forward. That's another response. Low self-esteem, you name it. It comes in your romantic relationships as well, right? And in your family, it affects your family because you're struggling to, for example, let others get close to you. And it's a stress response. It's your nervous system keeping you safe. Another way to think about this nervous system in the different states, I have this graphic here that describes the different stages. So it could be fight, right? The high alert is fight, flight, fawn, flood, and freeze. So I'm going to give you an example that quickly sort of sums up some of these. So let's just say that you are a little rabbit, you know, cute little rabbit out there. And then out of the blue, you realize that there's a fox nearby. Your nervous system immediately goes into high alert to say, perceived danger. In a minute, or not even a minute, in a microsecond, right, your nervous system is trying to assess, do we run? Do we hide? What do we do here? What do we have time to do? If it decides that you have time to run, make a run for it, immediately everything in your body devotes resources and energy to make sure you can fight and get away, right? That you can fight or run. So that means, what does that look like in our own bodies now today? That means that your body says, okay, every organ in the body, you can keep everything more or less running, but everything else, every other resource, every other rest of your energy that you have, we needed to put into this because we're about to run for our lives. So everything sort of goes down into this, just cruising, and every other energy goes towards running. So if there is no, digestion takes a second place to this. There's no digestion. There's nothing else. We're just going to run. So that's the fight, or when you need to run. It's a panic response, but your body is putting all the energy into this, right? Let's just say that the rabbit is quickly sort of assess the situation and said, okay, I can probably hide because I don't have time to run. If I run, it's going to see me and then it's going to come and run. So what I need to do right now is to kind of just sit here and freeze and make as little movement as possible, and just so that perhaps it won't see me, and that will keep me safe, right? Survival. So that is a freeze response. So that can translate, as you see here, of course, it's a fear response, but it's when you feel, maybe you feel voiceless. Maybe you sort of go into getting very quiet. Or maybe you feel that you're in bed and you cannot get out of bed for days at a time. That is actually a freeze response to stress. When you feel that you're unable to make decisions and move forward, that freeze, that is a nervous system response, an alert response, really. It's a freeze response to the nervous system as well, right? When you feel stuck and you freeze, that is a nervous response. And our example is keeping the rabbit safe because it's trying to make sure the fox doesn't come and eat it. Maybe you won't see it. And then there's another state in which maybe the fox already did see the rabbit, and maybe, there's nothing we can do. The rabbit is, it's going to get eaten. So the fox is coming your way and you're going to get eaten. The nervous system can also allow mercifully, can put your body into a state of, okay, I'm just going to go into as cruise mode as possible. I am going to detach myself from what is physically happening at this moment so that it's not as painful. So I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going to whatever, maybe it's faint, or maybe I just mentally am not there, so that I don't have to experience what is about to happen to me because it's too painful. And so you see this a lot in people who have gone through very complex trauma, right? Some really horrible situations in which they have no recollection of those years. For example, when you see children who have gone through very complex trauma, most of the times they lose years, right? They lost years. I don't remember anything between 7 and 8. What happened? They were going through something and their body was trying to keep them safe. And that's when you lose years. You don't remember. There is no recollection. How is that possible? Were you not alive and alert and going through? Yeah, you were going through the motions, but your nervous system was trying to keep you safe. And so you were sort of detached from what was happening to keep you from feeling all that pain. So that is another way the nervous system works. It's amazing, isn't it? It's just incredible now to see all this time, this is all happening with us. And we sort of, switch back and forth between all of these throughout our experience. And so regulating the nervous system, it's something that we like to accomplish. And nowadays you hear that a lot. Everyone is saying, oh, you need to regulate your nervous system. What is that? What does that mean? What I want you to take away from this is that fixing your nervous system is not the call to action here, right? Because it is so individual and it is so complex. And think about it, your nervous system has been keeping this database for so many years, right? And so it's not something that we fix overnight. The other thing that I want you to know is that there are also a database of positive responses as well. So let's just say that when I was a kid, for example, whenever I was stressed, I loved to go out into the garden and maybe go into nature and, look at flowers or just put my attention into the trees or whatever that is. In my database now, whenever I see flowers or I interact with nature, my automatic response is safety. This feels good. And so we all have both. We have a database of negative and we have a database of positive. So what I want to convey here is that what we want to do is bring awareness to your responses. That's all. And be aware that you have that database of negative and positive. And what we want to do is eventually develop more and more of the positive responses in your database. So that's what I want you to, we want to go towards is build the database of positive more and more so that you can apply them to your day-to-day. And also bring awareness to the patterns. I feel a certain way every time I'm in this certain situation. Maybe that is recalling something from the past. Fine. I cannot fix that right this second, but at least I can bring awareness and compassion without judgment. I can bring awareness to that pattern and then just explore how you can convert that negative relation or correlation to the experience to something positive. So the positive response. So here are some ways that we can invite in or calm down that reaction a little bit. So just some suggested responses. Obviously the breath. So taking 3 deep breaths whenever you can become aware that you are in a nervous system response. You can pause, bring awareness to it, and just breathe. That is the easiest way that you can help yourself. Grounding techniques, such as what I mentioned earlier with nature, taking a walk in nature or taking a walk around water. For example, we have beautiful Charles River near MGH. That is so immediate. So there are studies that show that looking out into a beautiful view or into a body of water for 10 minutes can completely change your response to stress and decrease your heart rate and everything else. So just 10 minutes of taking a walk or looking out into nature. Obviously, you can remind yourself in your nervous system that you are safe. You can say, I know that you think right now this looks familiar. And it looks like when we didn't feel safe, but I am safe right now. This is not the same. You can remind yourself with kindness, right? And notice how I'm putting my hands over my chest, and touch is incredibly calming and it's reassuring. And I'm doing that because this is a physical response. The nervous system is related, as we learned, to your physical response, to your heart rate, to your hormones. So everything is very physical. So when you're feeling like you're in this mode or this state, touching your body and saying, I am safe, everything is okay, is very is important. And touch is very, very healing, right? I know this firsthand as a Reiki practitioner, that touch is very healing. You can bring awareness to your responses with kindness. Just be aware of what makes you tick, if you will. That's another way that people say it. You can do other things that reduce stress. And in this way, you build your database of positive responses, whether it is a walk in nature or a breath work practice or doing yoga or listening to music or drawing. People love doing a craft when people are needing. Think about the things that bring about joy. Anything that brings you joy, you can build that database of your positive responses so that whenever you need them or your body, your nervous system makes you feel that you are in a dangerous situation, you can draw from your bank of positive responses. That's what we're trying to do here. So I hope these examples help you a little bit here. Again, if you have any questions or anything that you want to put in, how do you manage your own stress? What do you find has helped you? Do you go on walks? Maybe I haven't mentioned different ways. There are so many ways that people find relaxing. So now I want to touch on the first one that was listed here, which is the breath. How is your breath connected to our sense of well-being, to your emotions? So an invitation for you right now is take a breath. Just observe, how are you breathing in this moment right now? How is your breath? Of course, now that we're bringing attention to it, you may start to breathe differently. But if you notice, right before I mentioned it, maybe your breath maybe was a little bit shallow. Most of us are breathing from the chest, and we never breathe. It's a very shallow breathing when you're just breathing from the chest. And if you actually notice, it kind of feels very tight, and it's a very closed in way of breathing, and it's very shallow. So you're only breathing from here to here. And that is related to the stress response, right? When you're stressed, you're not taking deep breaths. Think about this. How do you breathe when you just got a really good news and you're really excited about something? Oh, you're breathing so much. You're taking in so much breath. You're, I'm in love, or whatever that is, right? The opposite is true. Actually, when we are feeling stressed, most of the times the breath is very shallow. So we're kind of going, that's not conducive to the stress, to feeling, to a positive response, right? So I'd like to invite you to bring your attention to the breath. How am I breathing? Is it shallow? Is it deep? Because by doing this, you can change your physical response to the stress in a few moments, as you saw. We can take a few deep breaths and immediately change how your brain is perceiving that you are feeling, right? There's a communication that is constantly happening between your brain and your body. Your brain is kind of looking to see, how are you breathing? Are you breathing very shallow? Are you stressed? Are you in danger? And so it sends the response that we just went through when it feels that you may be in danger. And believe it or not, it's reading that from how you breathe. So let's breathe deeply and slowly. When you do that, you immediately send the signal to your brain that everything is okay, that you're actually safe, which is what we're looking to do here, right? So here's an exercise that I want to leave you with today that you can utilize on your day-to-day that is so easy to do. It's called the straw breath. So easy. All you have to do is take a deep breath in through your mouth. And then we are going through exhale through the mouth. But in the out breath, I want you to create a very small opening as if you were using a straw, right? I have something here that's the straw. So Think about what happens when you're using a straw. So you breathe in and then you let out the breath. You're not forcing it. You're just letting out the breath through the straw so that it goes very, very slowly. What that creates is it elongates the out breath so that you're not breathing too shallow, right? So what I'd like for you to do, and maybe we could do one or two together, is take a deep breath in. Start to allow the breath, the out breath, through a very small opening. Do not force it, just allow it to. Immediately notice a difference, right? Let's do another one of those. Take a deep breath in, out breath through the straw in the mouth. Again, don't push it out, just let it go. As long as you have oxygen in your lungs, just allow it to empty your lungs. And if you do one more breath of these, you'll see a major difference. So let's do one last one of these. One deep breath in. If you want, you can close your eyes during this exercise. It's even more powerful and more, but you could do this with your eyes open. You could do this when you're driving and feel stressful. You could do this when you are in line at the grocery store, anywhere. It is very powerful. If you do between 3 and 5 of these, your nervous system will immediately shift to the safe mode. I promise you that. And this is also very useful to do with children because it's an easy one for them to remember. So teach this to your children, teach this to anyone in your life because it's so easy. And so it's a very easy way to bring into your own day-to-day practice. And so lastly, I wanted to touch on meditation. What is meditation? I know that when we are feeling stressed or that our nervous system is dysregulated or we are in high alert, sometimes it's not easy to just sit still. And I'm going to tell you that meditation is not simply the experience of sitting in this, Buddha position, the way that you see these lovely girls figurines here. That's not the only way you can meditate. And also meditation is not completely eliminating all of your thoughts. That's impossible. Your mind is designed to do this. So it's going to do that, so thoughts can come and go. Meditation is actually the act of returning to an anchor. So a lot of the times in meditation, we offer the breath like we were doing before, because it's an anchor that you can continuously come back to. So if your thoughts comes in or you lose your concentration, you can always return to the breath because the breath is always there for you and it's always happening in the now moment, right? So in meditation, all you're looking to do is to choose an anchor. It could be your breath, or it could be something that you're looking at in front of you, or sometimes it's even drawing, an activity, something that you love to do, gardening. And simply allow your thoughts to come and go without resistance. Because the resistance of I don't want to think about something or I want to eliminate thoughts, that just creates more stress, right? So that's not meditating. Meditation is bringing harmony to your thoughts to say, you can come in, you can go. Just think about your thoughts as just moving past and returning to an anchor. So that practice is useful because it's like doing an exercise. Eventually, your mind and yourself, your ability to maintain a restful meditative state will increase, and you'll be able to hold up for longer and longer. So meditation is not that you'll be completely without thoughts. It's simply just an exercise of bringing harmony to having, being at peace with your thoughts. you know? So that's an invitation and another way that we can help bring a very positive response to our day-to-day. So with that, I hope that this has been very helpful. And please, I want to hear all of your questions if you have any. I think we are getting close to time. I want to check in with Amy to see if we have time to do a short meditation or not.
Thank you, Carmen. I don't see any questions or comments in the chat, so I think we do have a few minutes to do an exercise.
Okay, great. So then what I'd like to invite us to do is to get comfortable in your seat wherever you are. And if it's safe for you right now, if you're not walking right now or driving, if you are sitting somewhere, just allow your body to relax into your chair. Just relax into your chair. I invite you to hold your hands like so, open, looking up at the ceiling and resting easily on your legs or, by your side or on your chair, wherever you are. And then if it feels comfortable and safe to you, you may close your eyes for this exercise, but you can also just gaze into the distance. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close my eyes. Okay, so now I'd like to invite you to bring your attention to your breath. Notice how it is already there for you. Without any effort, your body knows what to do. If you want to bring more intention to it, we can breathe in even more deeply. So I invite you to take a deep breath in, easy, and then exhale. And with the exhale, I invite you to drop your shoulders. The shoulders, most of the times, are very high because of stress and we don't even notice. So let's invite relaxation to the body by dropping the shoulders in the out breath. Let's take a deep breath in. And with the exhale, allow your body to relax even more. Dropping the shoulders. Inviting your arms to fall by your side. And inviting this relaxation also to the rest of your body. Your arms, your legs. With every breath, you can begin to feel your body relaxing a little bit more. Come in, allow them in, and then simply bring your attention back to your breath. If you notice yourself smiling, then that is a wonderful response. Allow the smile to be. Breath in and exhale, sinking in even more into the chair. Breath, I'd like to invite you to bring your attention to a beautiful place, something that recalls happiness and joy and peace to you. This could be your garden, it could be a memory. Simply allow yourself to be there. To your emotional state. What are you feeling in that space? Perhaps there are feelings of joy, happiness, and gratitude. Fully enjoy that feeling. Expanding in that feeling of gratitude, allow it to permeate through your entire body. Taking a deep breath in. In the exhale, imagine this feeling of gratitude expanding. And see if you can allow a smile to come over. Sinking into this feeling of gratitude. Gratitude for this practice. Give yourself thanks for allowing this minute of peace, this minute of quiet. Taking a deep breath in. We walk back to the present moment. Notice again your body sitting, standing, walking where you are. Bringing your attention again to your environment. And noticing how now you're bringing back the awareness of peace, the awareness of joy. The awareness of peace to the rest of your body and the awareness of peace to the rest of your day. Take one last breath in and exhale. When you're ready, very slowly, you can start to bring back your attention to the rest. Opening your eyes very, very slowly when you're ready. So that was a very quick 5-minute practice that we did. And if I invite you to notice your body, notice your mind, notice how that felt and how it feels now. Do you notice a difference between how you felt before we began the class and now? Or even 2 minutes ago to now, 5 minutes ago to now? So that's how quickly you can invite your body to feel safe and at ease with this very gentle practice. Thank you so much for doing this with me. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you so much. I mean, even for myself, those last few minutes, I can feel my breath and my mind. It's just calmer.
That is so great. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. And I really hope that um, the audience felt the same way. I see a message here from Lisa. Thank you, Lisa. I'm so glad that you like that.
Thank you,
So these are
Carmen.
very simple practices that we can do on a day-to-day. So hopefully that is very helpful to you. And please, I'm happy to take any questions. Please, you may email me if you have questions about the nervous system or the stress response. I'm going to put in my email here in the chat. So you can email me and I'm happy to discuss this more with you or even do more practice spreads with you if you like. And I'll be okay if Amy sends that out with her recording as well. People can contact me with any questions about the practice.
Thank you, Carmen. Do you mind entering that email one more time so that we can share with everybody?
Sure.
And while she enters that email in the chat, as I had mentioned, today's session is being recorded. So if you would like a replay or even share this recording with your loved ones, it'll be made available on the Blum Center website at massgeneral.org/Blum-Center. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely rest of the day.